Alright guys, I'm back with my Team Redcat MT10E, and it's been I think a little bit over 4 months now, so I just wanted to go over, do a full review and go over some of the pros, the cons, and you know, some issues I've had and some of the modifications I've done and some things like that. Overall, I gotta say the truck has been great for a ready-to-run truck. I usually expect some issues with the ready-to-run things, whether they're airplanes or helis or trucks. So, as you can see, the roof and the body and everything's not too much worse for wear. It is all scraped up and pretty rough. The tape has been, my carbon fiber tape has been roughed up. The roof is pretty well scraped up, and so is the rear here. You can see in the bed, I think the I don't know, either the shocks or the shock towers are hitting right here, and I've just kept putting more and more tape just to reinforce so they don't poke all the way through, and it's been holding up pretty well. So with the Gorilla Tape on it, this thing's pretty durable, man. I haven't had any problem with that. As long as, I don't know, with the Gorilla Tape, I can't say what it would be like without the Gorilla Tape, because I put it on right away, but with the Gorilla Tape lining the inside, this thing is pretty solid. Pros of the truck. Well, first of all, you can see I have different tires on it right now. The tires that come on the truck are pretty good. I didn't mind them that much. They do balloon, and so I don't drive really fast, but when you get it up to high speeds, they balloon a little bit. But when I'm ripping around in the dirt, they were actually pretty good. I didn't mind them so much. So that's kind of what this truck is built for, I think, and they worked really good for that. But I switched to trenchers because these actually work a little better on the street, I think, and all around, just kind of a better tire. The stock ones were not as good at slow speeds. They were real grippy, and then you'd get fast and they'd get a little squirrely. So these were a little more consistent. So like I said, I like the stock wheels. They're fine, so I would call them a pro to the truck. They're actually pretty decent wheels. The shock towers, another pro, and the shocks, they're very durable. I really haven't broken anything. Overall, I have to say the durability of the entire model is one of its pros. It is very durable. I have cartwheeled it, I don't even know how many times, dozens of times. In the 4 months that I've been running this truck, I've probably put, I don't know, probably 32 packs now through it, which is, even at 15 minutes, some of them I ran for probably longer, 17 or 20 minutes, but even at 15 minutes a pack, that's still like 8 hours of total runtime. So I've really put this through in the last 4 months. I've ran quite a bit of time on it. I mean, that's a fair amount of time for a review, I thought anyway. And I haven't been able to break anything. Really. I've cartwheeled it a bunch of times. I've done jumps. Not a whole lot of really high air jumps, but there was a mound at the park that I was jumping for a while and landing in sand, so it's really not, you know, like hitting concrete or anything. But the underside isn't too worse for wear either. I actually hit a post with this at full speed. I think it was this side. Full speed, I hit a 4x4 post, and nothing on this side broke, but I did break a steering servo saver link. I'll get to that in a little bit. Other pros of the truck overall, Savox servo. The Savox servo is a good servo. They make a pretty decent servo, so having one of those on board is definitely a pro. The speed controller is a Hobbywing or Hobbywing rebrand or some such thing. It's pretty good speed controller, seems to be, and overall that's been a pro for me. It's easy to program, works out well. Like I said, the durability, everything's working out. The wheelie bar is a pro. I think this thing works great. I did put some extra rubber around the outside to make the wheel a little bit bigger, to bring it lower to the ground. I might even put a little bit more on there yet, but it's been pretty good the way it is. The front bumper is durable. It's taken a beating, and been pretty good. I got the this is actually a CNC cut, I think, stainless steel plate. It was pretty heavy, so this brought, I only put it on the front because I wanted it to weigh the front down a little bit, and I didn't feel that it needed it so much in the back, but it has secured this area here, and so far I haven't had any problem with the bumper slipping with those mounting pins for the arms. I've hit things pretty hard. It's a beast. It's been durable. I have broken inside here this this arm right here that points straight. If I have it sitting here, it's the one that points straight up. I've broken that arm on the servo saver twice. I think they're like $8 or something, and I don't know, I think you get 2 of them. I forget, but they're not really expensive and they're not very hard to switch out. But when I hit that post going at full speed, that's what I broke. And I think one of the reasons it broke was because I drive in Florida sugar sand. I mean, the dustiest, thinnest dust. I mean, just sand particles, and just it's definitely a very rough environment for bearings and RC trucks and moving parts and things like that. So I think that the dust and the sand got into that servo saver and stopped it from being able to move out of the way it's supposed to, and flex. So I broke it one other time after that, and I didn't even hit anything. I was just driving it around, and it just broke. And I don't know if it was a defective part or if I hit something and then it broke later, which is the most likely thing. But the second time, after I fixed it the second time, I put some grease. I put some silicone grease inside the servo saver there, and I actually loosened the servo saver a little bit, and now it slips nice and good, and it still steers very well. So I think that helps, because without that grease there, it got to the point where I could barely move it sometimes, and I think it just got pinned up with all the dirt in there and just broke off. What else? Watertight receiver box. That's pretty good, and they put the power switch here. But for me, I drive in a lot of brush and sticks and leaves and stuff, and I kept getting the switch knocked upwards, which would turn the truck off. So I had the brilliant idea, I'll just flip the switch upside down. But then the lead wire that comes out is pointing right up into the receiver box, and it would get crushed if I put it in. So I lifted the receiver box with some bushings all the way around at the 3 screws, and then I put some tape around it here to seal the dirt from being able to get in there, because I got tired of blowing the dirt out from in there. And so now it's kind of sealed up a little bit, keep it a little tidier. I put some tape over the motor too, because one of the cons of this wonderful truck, I really do like the truck, one of the cons is the bearings, and I think that's to be expected on a ready-to-run truck or any kind of ready-to-fly helicopter, airplane, these kind of things. Sometimes they got to cut costs somewhere, and they probably just use some cheaper bearings. But also, I run it, like I said, in the worst of conditions in Florida sugar sand, so a lot of my bearings got ruined, including the motor bearings. And yeah, so I had to replace the motor bearings, the side bearings on each of the differentials, all the differential bearings. In fact, all my hub bearings are beyond shot, I'm sure, but I've been just kind of riding them out as long. I got new ones, but I guess I've been lazy to change them out, because they still work, and you can see they're not really nasty sounding, but there is some grit in them. I wouldn't doubt if some of my other center differential bearings that I didn't change on the front and rear differentials, the ones that go to the center, I'm sure those are in need of change, and some other things. But when I put the motor back in and changed the bearings, I put this duct tape, this Gorilla Tape over to try and keep some of the sand from sucking into that pinion, which seemed to be what it was doing. I mean, it seemed like it was just sucking it right through the bearing. And yeah, so I also had a thing where when I was fixing the servo saver, I noticed a weird thing with some extra parts that I had for the CNC post that goes there, and some of them were milled a little bit differently, and one had a deeper recess in it than the other. But that was not on my truck. That was just with some spare parts. So it's like I had two different posts from that. Let's see, what else? That's it. There's not a lot of things as far as cons to the truck. I would say the bearings are the worst thing. It's been great other than that. I mean, if you go and buy some new upgrade bearings for this thing, or if you don't run it in sand, I'm sure it's fine for a lot longer than I had. I mean, after just so many runs, after so many batteries through it, I mean, I just had to start replacing bearings. So if you run it on the street or other things, I'm sure it'll be a lot better off. But if you're gonna run it in sand, I'd get new bearings, and maybe consider getting some rubber sealed or ceramic bearings, getting a little bit more expensive bearings. I definitely got ceramic bearings on the motor. The rest are just regular rubber sealed. I'm going to see how those do. I didn't really want to spend the extra money for ceramic on everything else, but I do have a full set of bearings sitting waiting. One thing I do want to mention about these trencher tires, I have these trenchers on 12mm hex Desperados from Proline. The tires are great. I love the tires, but I've been having problems with the 12mm hexes. They've been stripping out, so I might be trying to convert those to 17mm and getting those Proline F11 17mm hex 2.8 inch wheels, which these tires would fit on nicely. And maybe I'll have a little bit less problem stripping. I think the problem is mostly the wheel, I think, starts stripping, and then all of a sudden the wheel just comes off, and there I'm going on 3 wheels. So but that's not a problem with the truck necessarily. That is a problem with these Proline on 12mm and the truck having too much torque, I think. Maybe if I went to a bigger pinion, I'd have less problems with that. But in fact, I probably would if I went to a bigger pinion. There'd be less torque and higher overall top end speed. So I don't know. That might be something fun to try. Otherwise, like I said, you know, I've been running it a lot, and as far as I'm concerned, this thing, for what it would cost to add an extra bearing upgrade to all the way around to just do all the bearings, I mean, it's great. A brushless system with a good speed controller, a good servo, comes ready to run with a transmitter and a receiver, and you know, it's a pretty good deal, I think. I think they're about $300, which compared to a Traxxas is with the same kind of brushless setup is I think a pretty good deal. I think the Stampede comes brushed at about the same price. So I know there's a lot of people who love their Stampede. Stampede seems like a great truck. I haven't had one, but you know, compared to what I see in the pricing, this is a good deal. It's been durable at the very least, and there's options for it. I mean, you can upgrade certain things. I mean, it's just pretty good little platform, and I've been happy with it. I'm going to keep ripping it around. I'm going to try the 17mm upgrade, and I'll probably end up getting back to YouTube land out there about how that works out. I know there's some other people doing it, so seems like it'll work out. And I guess that'll be it for now with this review of the Team Redcat MT10E. And overall, I'm going to say this is a great truck. It has its downsides, as many RC vehicles do, but they're minimal, and overall I think the value is great for the price. It's really just been great. So thanks for watching, guys, and give a thumbs up, subscribe if you like, and I'll be getting more videos of this guy running around and ripping. I think I might do a video of it doing wheelies up and down my driveway, which has been kind of fun lately when it's windy out and I can't go flying my helis. That's what I've been doing. So oh. Sweet. Oh.